Namaskar. Today we have our guest Mr. Harkirat Singh Bedi. He is the business head of Dabur Nepal and Myanmar. Welcome Mr. Bedi in the show.
Thank you, Madanji. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, so it's been a long stay in Nepal, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I came to Nepal in 2007 as head of sales and marketing. I was transferred from the parent company Dabur India, and it's now been 14 years I've been associated with Nepal in some role or the other.
Okay, it means your Nepal stint has proved very fruitful and you got promoted also.
Yeah, I think if I talk about my Nepal stint, I think it has been both enriching and it has been very rewarding to me, both as a person and as a professional. And as I told you, I came in as head of sales and marketing, then I moved up as country manager, and then in 2016 I moved up as business head SARC for the Dabur group, and now in my latest role I am as business head of Nepal and Myanmar, two very important markets for Dabur.
So that means your Nepal stint has proved to be very fruitful and also for Dabur. So Dabur is in Nepal for last 3 decades. How has been the journey so far?
I think Dabur Nepal is one of the examples of a very successful JV operation in Nepal, and it is also it's a testament to the FDI initiatives that were taken in the 90s that has proved to be extremely successful. So we came into Nepal in 1992. We started our operations in 92, though it took us 3 years to set up from 1989. And I would say that from a turnover of 53 lakhs, we ended last year at about 1138 crores. So, and last year was a COVID year, so we would have done much better if it had been a regular normal year. So that is the kind of journey that we have made. With initial investment of 8 crores, we have now invested in the last couple of years, ever since we were incepted, we have invested nearly 400 crores into into Nepal. So Nepal is one of the crucial operations of Dabur, and as things stand, we will continue to grow here, continue to grow our business and our investments.
Congratulations. So how has been the impact of COVID?
COVID impact, if we look at our business, we have 3 businesses largely. One is the export piece, one is domestic, and one is the agroforestry business. Exports was impacted because we largely export fruit juices to India. So 60% of the requirement of the Indian markets are serviced by a factory in Birganj. That was really impacted because with COVID, people started avoiding beverages largely, and they had moved into things like kadas and quarts and those other kind of concoctions, and there was a feeling at that time that you should drink hot beverages and not cold beverages. So as the business in India slumped for juices, we also, because we manufacture for India, we also face those setbacks. If we look at the domestic business, same thing. Foods was a bit of a challenge, which is, our fruit juice business was a bit of a challenge. But the other business, which is our Ayurveda business, our health supplement business, largely Chyawanprash and honey, that did extremely well.
You mean to say the pharmaceutical related?
The basically what we define as health supplements, which is largely Chyawanprash, our honey business, our Honitus cough drops, and the Ayurvedic business, that did extremely well.
So how is your company prepared to cope with the possible disruption? We are talking about Omicron.
I think the challenges were there in the first wave. I think everybody was actually really taken by surprise, and that was the challenge initially. But I think we've been able to mitigate that, and the learnings of I would say the first and second waves we will incorporate here. So obviously, we have in terms of the massive challenge was largely in terms of supply chain. So we have also now developed alternative vendors in India and abroad. We keep much larger stocks in terms of raw material and packing material. So what earlier what we would strategically cover our RM and PM, we have increased those coverages. So, and also as I told you, a number of alternative vendors have been explored, especially on the supply chain front. On the demand front, if the COVID does come, obviously we will now be concentrating more on the health side of the business. So that's how we do it. We need to give extra credit to our dealers. We do that. We try and build up inventory in the market at the dealer point, so that in case there are no shortages and the consumers can get a uninterrupted flow of goods.
In certain goods like, as you said, honey or juice, honey you increase, but cases like juice, especially your institutional sales must have been impacted.
Yeah.
But how has this extra delivery mechanism, you said e-commerce or something, how did you do that? Were they helpful?
The point is actually, definitely you're right. That is a channel which we call Horeca. That has definitely got impacted because, people are a little careful these days during COVID of going out, and obviously with COVID celebrations, a lot of your conferences, seminars, get-togethers, house parties, everything has basically been minimized actually. And even if you do have gatherings, they are much smaller scale than what was in the past. So that channel has definitely got disrupted. Though this year we have seen a revival. Compared to last year where it had been hit very badly. This year we have seen a revival in this channel.
So, I mean, what is the alternate delivery mechanism you are mentioning?
E-commerce, our share of the business in e-commerce is very, very small, and I personally, at least for FMCG products, the kind of products in which Dabur thinks, the e-commerce channel contribution is very, very negligible. So I don't think we can make up these sales through e-commerce or channels like that.
So that is the one. The pandemic is the main reason of the decline in the sales in 2021.
Yeah, pandemic would be the main reason for the decline of sales in 2021, because both our export business is largely concentrated towards juices, which really suffered, and in the domestic business also, nearly 50% of our business comes from juices. So that had a severe setback because of the pandemic, and also because apart from people not consuming juices, you had there was a complete slump in tourism also. So low hotel occupancy rates, poor tourist inflows also affected the juice business. And juices to a great extent is out of home consumption. So as out of home activities get restricted, you will see a direct correlation to juice sales. So as out of home activities open up, juice sales go up. As they get curtailed, juice sales come down. But the rest of the business, our consumer care products, that did exceedingly well last year. Led, as I told you, by a health supplements piece, which did, but rest of the portfolio also did well last year. So there were less shocks on the consumer care business, but huge shocks on the juices.
How about the Chyawanprash, this prack chip that used to be the one of the major export items, and though the exports are still in the increasing trend, and overall share of the total export has declined. So, what is the main?
Chyawanprash has done very well in Nepal. Last year, I think we nearly grew 100%. It was a fantastic performance as far as Chyawanprash is concerned, because immunity was the buzzword last year, and Chyawanprash is one of the proven products for boosting your immunity. The domestic sale was exceedingly good for Chyawanprash last year.
Right. Uh, it has been quite long time that Dabur has stopped investing in Nepal. Earlier, Dabur added juice plant and horse farming and processing, but for about 6-7 years, if I am right, no new ventures are noticed. Why this stagnation? Or
No, I wouldn't. I would not put it like that. As I told you that we started with investment of 8 crores, and we have invested about 400 crores since our inception in '92, and we have been consistently, investing in capital expenditure, and we have raising our lines of juices. We are investing in our plants for our consumer care business. So I would not necessarily put it like that. And we have also gone and going ahead. We have also gone and taken approval from the Nepal Investment Board. Investment Board of Nepal. For investing about close to 970 crores in the next 5 years. For basically our increasing our lines in juices, increasing our consumer care space. So these investments will be used for both strengthening our export business and also our domestic business.
you mean to say you have been waiting for their approval?
Yeah. I think we've been waiting for the approval. I think more or less it has come in.
It's more of an expansion of your existing plant.
Yeah, existing plant. No, we are not looking at another plant. We are basically improving our facilities, adding new lines, getting newer machineries and plants in our existing setup in Birganj.
Right. Is there anything like Dabur India's focus, as you are in Bhutan and Bangladesh, is it that now Dabur India's focus is more in those countries than to Nepal? Is
No,
there anything
not
like that?
necessarily, because Nepal is a very big and a very critical operation for Dabur. In fact, our domestic business is very, very sizable when we look at it and compare it to other Dabur businesses across the globe. When I'm talking about is the international business, and our export business, we nearly export 700 crores to India every year. So I think there has been no kind of shift towards other countries, and I think the company is quite Dabur India as a group is quite vested into Nepal, and it's and considers it one of its core operations.
Okay. How would you compare business environment in Nepal with those countries that Dabur India has operations?
It is difficult to compare.
Maybe few good points, few not so good
I
points.
think it would be a little difficult to compare about how we are doing business in other countries and what challenges those managers there face. It would be a little difficult to compare, but what I can compare is the periods in Nepal when I came in 2007 and today. I think the business climate in Nepal has vastly improved since when I first came in 2007. And no, I think definitely in terms of the environment in which we are operating has definitely improved. Whether you see trade unionism, whether you see labor relations has improved in terms of, say, your industrial relations, the climate there in the factories. all that has definitely improved. That used to be a big challenge, but I think that is one of the pain points which has got eased over some time now.
Um, uh, since you have been looking after Myanmar also, uh, can you say something, share some of your experience, like some good examples of Myanmar and some challenges here in Nepal, or vice versa?
Myanmar now has a very very challenging climate in which to operate after the coup in I think 1st of February 2020, and but my experience before that coup was that Myanmar was very welcoming of foreign investment, trade. They were pretty methodical. Processes were pretty simplified and streamlined, and speed for licenses and approvals was very very quick. Also, there was a lot of digitization in the country, so a lot of approvals and paperwork could be done online. So unfortunately now it is extremely challenging environment, and it's really become a closed country now. But we were getting very very good traction in our business in Myanmar, with very good growths, and we had a lot of plans to grow our business, bring in new brands, and even go in for local manufacturing there. But this coup and the current climate has
How is the operation there now at present?
present it is it's going on. I think obviously not to the not to our current level of expectations, because it's very very difficult out there. There's the currency is depreciating. There's a liquidity problem. Access to funds is not easy. There's a low level of vaccination also out there. So there are challenges, but I am sure Myanmar will bounce back.
Can you say any lessons that you learned while operating in Nepal that have been very useful to apply in other countries like Myanmar?
I think one of the lessons that we have learned, and over the years that I've seen in Nepal, is that in Nepal you need to be patient. In Nepal you need to be resilient, and in Nepal I feel you need to stay the course. Uh, it is challenging, but I think for most people who have followed this mantra, I think the journey has been pretty rewarding.
Okay.
So, despite all the challenges that we have seen in Nepal, I would like to sum up Dabur's experience in one word, which is rewarding.
Okay, great. So, what are the challenges you see or you face in Nepal while doing businesses?
See, apart from the larger political and economic stability, that is something one is always looking for if you want to operate in a country and grow your business and make profits. You're obviously looking at a climate where there is political and economic stability, because with change of governments, you will get a change of policies. And if policies are not, keep on changing, then it's very, very difficult to operate. That's what I feel. So we are looking at political and economic stability, obviously, and then apart from that, 4 or 5 pain points are the IPRs. IPRs regulation needs to be strengthened, and the world famous marks and brands need to be protected. That is definitely one of the important points. Second thing is we see is a lot of raw materials are put into restrictions. So we want that at least for industrial purposes, these raw materials should be opened up. Like black pepper is one of those products. So at least for industrial use, one should not have these kind of restrictions, because it becomes extremely difficult. Then one of the points is when payments to overseas vendors. that also has become now a very cumbersome and lengthy procedure. So ease in that will also help us. Fourth is, I think, manufacturing companies, cannot do contract manufacturing. And now a lot of products we have, that we would like to introduce, or we would like to try out in the market. I mean, if we could do a bit of contract manufacturing, then, we can scale it up later depending upon its success, and then invest. And otherwise, that helps us, that it curtails us from bringing in new products and new technologies, because with every new product, if you have to manufacture in-house, there are huge capex involved and huge risks involved. So I think these 3 or 4 points at an operational level, if they improve, I think it will be good for not only Dabur, but I think for most companies who are operating here. Yeah.
How do you see the government's regulations and standards, especially related to the food safety? Have they made any impacts on your sales because of the government's policy? For example, on sugar imports also is said to be impacting the Dabur.
See, with as regards food safety, we work very closely with the DFT QC, Department of Food Technology and Quality Control, and we abide by all their legislations with respect to food safety. And what we are seeing that over the years is there's a lot of evolution in food safety in Nepal, and Nepal is catching up with the rest of the world with regard to food safety. So there have been some new laws regarding labeling regulations, which are enforcing more detailed declarations regarding your ingredients. So we are abiding by the DFTQC, and we are seeing that every year on year, more and more rules are coming which are very, very pro-consumer, and so that they are completely made aware about what are the ingredients that go into the product, what is the process of manufacture, sharper declaration regarding expiries, regarding best before. I think it's a good kind of initiative which the government is doing on food safety.
There was an issue, I don't remember now, but some illegal, juice imports from other countries like Bangladesh, and they are also impacting on your juice products. How is the situation now?
No, I don't see any challenge now from the Bangladeshi juices as of now. I think there were some changes in regulations with respect to import duties, and I think that was a welcome move by the government, because what we are largely asking for is a balance and a level playing field. That's what we are looking as an organization. We are open to competition, but what one wants to say is that Nepal should not be used as a dumping ground for products.
So there is no grey product issue for products like juices?
No, as of now, I don't think there is any grey products, or I don't think that is a challenge anymore. And I think there is the government has acted very proactively to help the juice manufacturers, because there is adequate capacities in Nepal in juices. So even if there is a demand does go up in the immediate or near future, I think there's adequate capacity amongst all the juice manufacturers to be able to meet that kind of demand.
How about the competition in Nepal market from other Ayurvedic products marketeers?
I think There is it is quite a heated battle, because you are competing against some very strong brands like Patanjali, Jhandu, Baidyanath, and there are some good local companies like Bhaskar Ayurved. So I think the Ayurvedic space is quite heated up, and I think all companies have got pretty good products. So I think the customer is king in this space.
Coming back again to the juice, how is this business now? You said now it's reviving, and I wanted to ask about the competition, because couple of years ago, when government drastically raised the import duties on juice import, it was interpreted as a result of a strong lobby from you, I mean Dabur. What is your take on that?
No, the thing is that we had nothing to do with that, with lobbying against anybody or anything. I think if you look at it very from the government point of view, it's very simple. I mean, you do need to encourage and protect people who are manufacturing in the country, because if you are manufacturing in the country, you are providing a lot of employment, you are bringing in a lot of new technologies, you are paying your share of income tax, VAT, and all the excise duties, and you are helping build a climate of industrialization. Nepal has a very small population of approximately 3 crores, and for most companies find it very difficult to manufacture in Nepal because of sheer feasibility issues. So if anybody is manufacturing here, I think it is only apt that the government does support it and protects those industries from cheaper imports coming in from outside. I mean, yes, these companies do pay import duties, but how does Nepal gain in that respect? All the taxes, all the employment, everything is in the country of origin. So I think going forward, if if we want economic development, then while the service sector is extremely important, you need to have a certain degree of industrialization, a certain degree of protection. I would say not protection, and one is not looking for protection or subsidies, one is looking at a level playing field.
And predictability.
And predictability as well. Because if companies who have invested here do make reasonable returns, I'm sure they will continue to invest, and and economic development comes with its own attendant positive consequences.
Has Dabur Nepal any plan to sell export your products to countries like Bangladesh or other?
Yeah, we do. We do export. We've exported products to Dubai. We have exported products to Qatar. We are exporting to Bangladesh also, and we have also, and I'm very proud to say that we have also exported juices to the US and Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is the quantity like in these countries, especially Bangladesh, Dubai and all this?
No, Bangladesh, Dubai and all this is all, I would say, very small fledgling operations to begin with. Bangladesh, we send juices, we send Hajmola tablets. Qatar, we have sent juices, we have sent Chyawanprash. In Dubai, we had sent honey at one point of time. And in US, we had, for a private label, we had shipped juices. So, I mean, the very fact that if you can make a successful sale and a shipment to the US also gives you a lot of confidence and belief in your operations, because the standards for the US are extremely stiff. in terms of both in terms of the quality of your products and the quality of your packaging.
Right. So how has been the segment-wise performance? Your business is concentrated in food and beverage segment, particularly on juices. Any plan to expand the diversification?
Segment-wise performance, as I would like to tell you that for the year 2021, juices were badly down because of the COVID pandemic. Rest of the business performed exceedingly well. Um, uh, Going into this current year, we have seen a huge bounce back in our juice business, buoyed by the good demand in India and the domestic demand, which has come back. Obviously, if you see the rest of the business, which is our health supplements, oral care, hair care, skin care, home care, you will not have that kind of growth because of the huge base last year. So the base impact will impact that, but otherwise, on the whole, I see very, very good numbers for Dabur Nepal in 21-22 in both the export business and the domestic business. So when our results come out, you will see strong numbers.
Um, uh, since the juice is, as you said, bouncing back, will the company be able to fulfill the demand?
Yeah, we have seen good demand for our export business, and we have seen better than expected demand for our domestic business. And the good thing is that the supply chain people have been able to anticipate this. So we had uh, uh, good availability of raw material and uh, packing material with us, so that when this demand came up, we were able to fulfill it. We have also our capacities are there to be able to fulfill this demand. But I think very, very good anticipation and proactiveness from our supply chain team, which saw that the demand was moving up, and they made according arrangements accordingly to adjust to that demand.
Beautiful. How are the juice exports estimation, or are you thinking that it will also get a lot of demands?
Yeah, I think what I feel is that now we are on the last stages of the pandemics, and I don't think there'll be further any more waves, and demand should eventually settle down. 1 or 2 years has been a very rocky demand. It's been all crests and troughs, but now I think going forward, as the effects of the pandemic wear out, we will see demand, at least in juices, coming back. And I'm very hopeful that once the tourism sector gets activated and arrivals increase and the hotel occupancies go up, people start visiting Nepal, we will see revival in juices at least.
Especially, I am asking about the juice exports estimation.
Export estimations will be also, as we largely export to India. I think once the pandemic is behind us, we should see good demand coming in India, because same thing has happened in India also, that even in India, tourism is down, hotels occupancies are down, people are not moving out. The whole atmosphere has been one of savings, not knowing what the future will bring. So once I think there's a little bit of a confidence that the worst is behind us, people will start saving, people will start spending, and people will start going out. That is going to spur demand. I think I am very hopeful that demand in India should bounce back. 2022, people were talking about, ADB gave a projection of 7% growth in the Indian economy. Some people were saying it can even be higher than that. So if all that works, comes about, then I think I see good demand for juices, and I see us also increasing our capacities to meet this demand.
One of the critical question I would like to ask is, it is said that not a single drop of the fruit juice in real juice pack is from Nepal, because the 100% raw material is imported. Why no efforts for backward integration?
See, what happens is that it's not necessarily so that nothing is from Nepal. It is that all the value addition norms that the company that the country requires is met by us. But one needs to see that. In terms of say laminates, now we don't have a Tetra Pak facility in Nepal. So all your laminates, which are juices, are largely in Tetra Pak laminates. All have to come in from outside. Earlier they used to be largely coming in from Singapore. Now they have put up a plant in Chakan in Pune, from where those laminates come in. And even if you see when we are talking about concentrates, we get them from abroad, and they are the concentrates are provided by specialists in the concentrate trade, who provide us the blends, which have been crafted by our food technologists, and there has to be a certain degree of consistency in those blends. So we have left certain parts of the value chain to the specialists who handle that value chain. And you do not have people out here who are going to be able to provide those concentrates and the necessarily fruits thereof.
Okay, my question was exactly, is it not possible to start that backward integration?
As of now, it looks very difficult, because our forte in juices is manufacturing and selling. We are to a great degree. We are we manufacture, we sell, and we market. Our core skills are in that. But the backward integration with farmers, the ability to buy from them, the ability to build those blends, do the concentration or do the pulp processing, is something that we are not experts in. That is not our. No, we haven't really explored that line, because there are people who are able to do that. They have the requisite technologies, they have the expertise, they have the know-how, and they can provide that at a much cheaper and I think affordable and reasonable price. One can try and explore backward integration, but if you are not good at it, or you do not have the requisite skills for the same, all that you will end up is the inefficiencies that you garner, you are eventually going to pass it on to the end consumer, which does not make sense. So our forte is not in as I told you, in making in pulp processing, or in making concentrates, or being able to identify where the best sources of fruit are. So there's a specialist industry which is doing that, and largely all companies, juice companies, operate in that fashion. Yeah.
How about the Tetra Pak? Is it not also possible to manufacture here by somebody, or by Dabur?
No, Tetra Pak is actually a Swedish company, and I think earlier we were importing the laminates from their facility in Jurong, Singapore. But obviously, when Tetra Pak saw that in the South Asian region there was a big uptick in demand, then Tetra Pak moved their facility to Chakan to service this area. So I do not know. I don't think Tetra Pak has a facility anywhere. Might be a facility in Pakistan, but I don't think they have any facilities in the other South Asian countries. In India they have, I told you in Pune they have, yeah. So
what is the value addition of juice? If you
value addition, we are meeting the value addition norms. Whatever the value addition norms set by the government, we are meeting it. And we do buy a lot of RMPM internally in Nepal to fulfill the norms of the authorities.
Right. Nepal government's top priority has been on checking the ballooning trade deficit. It is come up with the number of policies to promote exports, including the cash incentives for the exporters. How do you see these initiatives of the government?
I think the government has been pro export, at least if you know, exports to India largely duty free. And what I would like to say that as far as Dabur is concerned, we last year only exported about 700 crores. And I feel in a way we help in helping reducing that trade deficit, because INR is scarce here, and we are helpful in we are instrumental in getting valuable INR into the country. And I think I am more than happy and appreciative of the efforts of the government as far as exports are concerned. And obviously the legislation and the incentives and everything has been extremely positive, because we are seeing a year-on-year growth, and we are seeing more and more investment into the country. We are adding more lines. So obviously I think the whole ecosystem created by the government for exports is I think pretty encouraging. We are one of the largest taxpayers for a company which is exporting, and we win this award, I think, year on year. And you'd be glad to know that juices is one of the top 10 commodities exported out of Nepal. So I think it's been tough, but I think if you're able to navigate the waters here, I think there is a good reward for your efforts.
There is one question, this comes always when you talk about the FDI, that those companies who came to Nepal earlier, like Surya Nepal, Dabur, Asian Paints, and so many other companies who have been doing extremely well in terms of their businesses, they never have good odds to other foreign companies who would be interested in Nepal, because they don't know how Nepal is really doing. What do you say about that?
No, I would disagree with you there, because I have been here for the last say 14 years, and a number of people from different companies, I don't want to name them, some companies have already come and established themselves in Nepal, have come to us, met up with us, have had talks, discussions, and have wanted to know how we have been able to operate and succeed in the Nepal market, and they wanted our learnings, and they have also asked our advice about way forward, and how do they enter the Nepal market. And we have always been very, very positive and very, very encouraging in that respect. And I personally, whenever I've met people from different multinationals largely, I have always told them that initially there will be teething problems once you enter Nepal, but if you hang in here, after 2-3 years, I think you'll be able to settle down and do reasonably good business, and there is enough growth and opportunity in this market. So I have never, I have always been very, very positive because our story, says so. So why should I, discourage anybody from coming?
From that angle, can you say few points, say 3 or 4 or 5 points, why should a foreign investor company come to Nepal?
See, from what I see with most companies today is a lot of companies are basically are trading, and uh, their sales are going up. They are reaching a certain critical size, and what happens then is that with governments changing, I think we've had about 10 to 11 prime ministers in the last 10, 11 years. So with governments change, policy changes, your duties change, regulations regarding import changes. So a number of times that has been a setback for a lot of these companies, especially change in duties, change in regulations, and sometimes when you are having foreign exchange crisis, then there are some directives by the NRB also, like recently we have the 100%, 50% margin money on LCs. So a lot of, for people who are importing or companies who are exporting into Nepal, this constant change of regulation actually completely puts them off. So obviously, they also feel like, that we want some stability. And I think the size of the market being only 3 crores is a constant challenge in their minds, that is it feasible, can we put in that kind of investment, if we put in that kind of investment, will I get an adequate return, is my investment safe? So I think these are the questions. But I think most companies, when they look at other companies like Surya Nepal, Dabur, Unilever, Asian Paints, Berger, today Kansai Nerolac, I think there are a lot of success stories in the Nepalese market. So I don't know what is holding them back. Why can't they take the plunge?
You said about the population, only 30 million. People always talk about two giant economies, in Nepal. So is that not a boon for Nepal?
It is, in terms of, while there might be a 30 million population, or as I said, 3 crores in Nepal, but if you can jig your operations in such a way that you can also export at the same time, then using one facility, you can have both a sizable domestic business and a export business. So I don't know, I can talk about our experiences of exporting to India. I do not know about China. I think it's easier to export to India because of the open border, contiguous geographical terrain. That would be a perfect fit. I think some companies in the past, like Aarti Steel and all these companies, also worked on this model. That would probably be the best case, because Nepal, as you said also, that while the population seemingly might be small, there are states in India with similar kind of population. But I think Nepal is a young economy. It's a growing economy. People are aspirational. I think, incomes are going up. Consumerism has come in. Spending has definitely taken off. And I think today Nepalese consumers are, because of digitization and globalization, is like any consumer anywhere. He's aware of all the latest trends, fads, and he wants equally world-class products. So I don't think today a Nepalese consumer will settle for any inferior products. If you want to do well here, you have to make world-class products to succeed.
I must ask you this question that the CSR initiatives that our Nepal has been doing in Nepal, what are the areas that our Nepal is working as a part of CSR?
CSR actually, we were doing initially, we were doing a lot of CSR in the area and the villages around our factory in Birganj. So largely to a great extent, we were doing providing computers, building toilets, working in the education space by providing benches and thing. Also, with health and dispensaries. So largely, a lot of the thing was concentrated there. So that's one piece of the CSR, and then we also do CSR in our agroforestry business by providing free saplings to farmers. So we are working with NGOs, INGOs, CFUGs, forest groups. So we provide a lot of saplings of our herbs, some free, some very, very subsidized. And then we have a 100% buyback process. So that's also a big CSR initiative in our medicinal and aromatic plants business. And this year we have done something in the health space. We have donated 25 lakhs of critical care equipment to Beer Hospital. And going forward, as far as I see our CSR initiatives, it's going to be largely focused more in building the health infrastructure of the country, especially COVID, had a big toll. So we are now not looking at, say, COVID-related medical infrastructure, but more generally critical care-related medical infrastructure. So I think we'll be doing more in that space, providing some kind of a grant or equipments to largely the hospitals, both in the private and public sector space. I just would like to say that, as you were mentioning, I think just wanted to talk about the Dabur journey. I think it's been like in 2022, this year it will be close to, say, 30 years of being in Nepal. We commissioned our plant in '92. So I think it's been quite a interesting, exhilarating ride and a journey. And I think the Dabur Nepal operations is pretty close to the heart of even the Dabur India team, and I think this is it's a very, very critical operation, and I think the company really had the I would say the foresight and knowledge at that time to invest in Nepal. And it's very, I think it's a matter of pride that 60% of the juices that we sell in India are provided from our plant in Birganj. And our operations is a testament to the fact that in Nepal, you can make world-class products and make things happen. Why not?
Thank you very much, Mr. Bedi, for your time and sharing very insightful information to our audiences.
Thank you, Madanji. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much also for giving me this platform to showcase my views and the views of the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.